National League playoff final takes place this Sunday, 3 p.m. kickoff. Looking forward to this one, and well, what can we expect from this game? I mean, Boreham Wood take on Rochdale. What I think we can expect, or I definitely think there's a strong possibility this could be a very entertaining game. I think if you look at the history of this playoff, particularly a playoff final over recent years, if you look at the last 5 seasons, I believe all of them have gone to extra time. So, and quite a few of them as well have been decided on penalties. They've all, a lot of them have been high scoring, like the recent ones, very entertaining matches. Maybe this could bring us a similar sort of game. I think it could. Just to recap on the semi-finals that we have seen recently, Boreham Wood made the way through the playoff eliminators. They had an extra time winner after a 0-0 against Forest Green. Zach Brunt stepped up, an extra time winner, but then he does it again against Carlisle. We see Boreham Wood do take the lead in this game, but Carlisle hit back. Game goes to extra time. It suits Boreham Wood obviously because they go down to 10 men, Carlisle, but they still have to capitalise on it. And sometimes teams, especially on those type of occasions, they can set up to be very difficult to play against 10 men. And you know, both of those games look like they could be heading to penalties, but Boreham Wood again stepped up. Zach Brunt again gets the extra time winner. Well, what a return he's had this season, including those goals. 17 goals. That's for a midfielder, that's very impressive. And well, he's clearly the man for the big occasion. So far, he's done it twice for them in both playoff games so far. So, yeah, very, very impressive. Someone else I'd like to highlight for Boreham Wood is on loan from my team, Chelsea, Ted Curd, in the Boreham Wood goal. I'm really looking forward to seeing him play on Sunday, and I hope for them that for him that they can that he can do it. Because I'd love to see that. And Boreham Wood, like I say, they have been impressive so far. They've shown that they can play under pressure. They've shown that they can deal with extra time. They've shown that they can handle that environment. They've shown that in the key moments they can step up under that type of pressure on that type of occasion when the game's gone to extra time. They've done that twice. They've proven that at their home stadium against Forest Green with the 1-0 extra time win, and then with the game against Carlisle away from home as well. They proved that they can do it then as well. They've obviously had the extra game on Rochdale, but Rochdale also had the disappointment of that final day showdown with York, which we'll come back to in a minute. As more for Boreham Wood, though, Luke Gerard, the manager, has done a fantastic job there this season. Unbelievable job after getting them promoted last season to have them going for a double promotion now. Could they reach the Football League for the very first time? There's a strong possibility. I think they could, and I'll tell you the reasons why. Luke Gerard, I believe, signed from 2015, and he's been there for a while. And I think both of these teams prove how backing a manager, how far that can get you. But obviously, they've had playoff defeats before under him. 2018, they made the playoff final, lost to Tranmere, Boreham Wood that year, very narrowly, 2-1 defeat. 2020 as well, a semi-final defeat. And 2023, another semi-final defeat. So, and in all the other seasons amongst that, there were seasons he had them very close to the playoffs. So this shows you that they had a cup run as well, a decent cup run. One season under him as well, not Bournemouth out. So this shows you where they have, how close they have been, Boreham Wood, to reaching the Football League before. Very, very close. Obviously, I've had a playoff final defeat before as well. They've lost in this playoff 3 times. It shows you that, you know, they're a team that it could be their turn. The time could be here, then it could be their turn very soon, and it might even be this Sunday. But with them being in the final, there's, you know, teams they're only losing the playoffs a certain amount of times, it seems, before they finally do break the trend and get themselves up. And their playoff performances have been so impressive so far of managing the occasion, Boreham Wood, that I think they've got every chance here. The opponent is the hardest of opponents for this level, though. More on them in a minute, but. What I did find interesting, Luke Gerard was sacked by Boreham Wood after I believe he was sacked. He might have left, but the point was he left after after they were relegated. The season after they had a playoff defeat, people thought they'd be up there again, but 2024 they were relegated, which is a real shock actually, them going down. But they brought him back in pretty much as soon as the National League South season kicked off in September. Months after he left, and then he's able to get him up last year through the playoffs as well. So they have the experience of the playoff win last season. Rochdale have the experience of losing out in the National League playoffs last season. So both of them have played in this type of environment recently, but Boreham Wood, I think, have really proven how they can manage the occasion as well as playing the the game as well. And like I said, it's definitely the right thing to do, putting Gerrard back in charge towards the start of last season, because look at how far they have come now, and they're on the brink of the Football League for the very first time. And it would be good to see a new name in the Football League. I tell you what though, whoever wins this game, I'll be happy, because Rochdale deserve to go up with the season they've had. I will be talking about them more in a minute. Both of these two, I'd like to see either one of them come up. If either one of them come up, I'll be happy. I just hope for a really good game of football on the Sunday. But Boreham Wood have produced a 4th place season, 90 points they've got this season, which is very, very impressive. When you think about the level of the National League nowadays, after getting promoted, to be able to get straight back to where they were pretty much, leave off where they left off in this division after being relegated, to just get going again straight away, I thought it would be hard. I thought they'd survive, but I didn't think they'd do this. A lot of people thought they would go down as well. It's worth noting they were one of the favourites to go down at the start of the season as well. It's worth remembering that. So it's definitely worth looking at that and just appreciate for a minute whatever happens on Sunday, what they've managed to do this season, Boreham Wood, because it has been absolutely fantastic to see what they have done this season. And the way they've gone through the playoffs so far as well. The questions were asked, I mean, would they have the experience? Would they be able to, after only being newly promoted, would they be able to do it? But I think they've well and truly answered those questions. So yeah, it's all down to this game now for them. And like I said, 90 points. They weren't far off of. There's only 6 off of Carlisle who they beat, who were 3rd. So they really pushed them for that. It was really in a battle with that as well. And the top 2 eventually run away with it. But you know, they still, you know, the gap in quality I don't think is maybe as big as what people might think between these two clubs. Boreham Wood are very much a pressing team. They're a team that you know, work hard out off the ball, and you know, look to look at the press really hard as well. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do on the very big pitch at Wembley. Interestingly enough though, Rochdale are very much a possession based side, so 2 opposites coming together. It'll be really interesting to see what, in terms of a tactical battle as well, who wins out on this occasion. Because as for Rochdale now, a team that, let's talk about them now, they're a team that was in the Football League for 102 years, were relegated in 2022 under Jimmy McNutley, the current manager. He took over in caretaker charge that year. He goes down, they give him the permanent job, and in his first couple of seasons in the National League were rough. They're relegated in 2023 after his first season in League 2. Sorry, I think he was when he got the permanent job. But it was very much. It took them. They had a season where they just missed out in the playoffs. 2024, they failed to. The year Boreham Wood were relegated, funnily enough, they failed to get in the playoffs that season. But last season they really kicked on, and we've seen them kick on even further than that this season. But last season they finished 4th, and they lose in the playoffs to Southend, which, you know, it was disappointing. That's a big reason why I think they would have wanted to avoid the playoffs this season. There was one of the favourites in the start of the season. People thought they'd be top 3, top 4 in and amongst it again for sure. And they certainly was. For a while, looked like they might even win this league. It was always just going to go right down to the wire between York and Rochdale. Maybe they'll be kicking themselves a bit, especially as they was in one point in front of York in the table, and obviously went in front on the final day in that incredible end to the season, which I've already done a whole separate video about if you want to know more about that particular game. But the point is, they thought they were going up, and York was able to steal it right at the depth, right literally when they was already celebrating. They looked like they won it in the last kick of the game. They then went and up the other end, and York and was able to get themselves. They needed the draw, and yeah, they was able to go up there at Rochdale on the final day. So they've got that disappointment in Rochdale, and a lot of people wondered, would they be able to manage that disappointment coming into this. Apologies for the gap and the change in location. There's some work going on out there. It's going to get too loud, so I've come in here to finish this video. Anyway, what I was saying is that Rochdale, a lot of questions were asked of how they'd manage that disappointment going into the semi-final. Would they be able to respond, and would they be able to get going again and get their form back, do what they're good at, and do everything really under the circumstances that they were so dejected after. And you can see on the final day how disappointed they were. And there's the whole separate thing. The 2 teams really should go up. Both of them in York deserve to go up. So for that reason, I like Boreham Wood. I like Rochdale. Either way, I think I'll be happy with either team being promoted. As I said earlier, Rochdale as well. Desiree up front is definitely a player to watch. Big goal on the final day. Could he get a big goal in this final? Which match winner will, and we talked about Boreham Wood earlier, which could it, if it comes to extra time, it would be big to see who steps up for who. And could we even see penalties? Then the spotlight will be on the goalkeepers. It's very interesting because two young goalkeepers, as I mentioned earlier, Ted Curd on loan from Chelsea, and the Boreham Wood goal I'd really like to see too as well, and Oliver Watmouth, who's in the goal on loan from Manchester City in that Rochdale goal. So impressive on that final day as well. Really big saves against York. So I'm really interested to see to watch these two goalkeepers in action again on Sunday as well. Rochdale, you know, they're probably, if you look at the course of the season, the team that deserves it. To miss out like that, you know, any team that gets that close and produces over 100 points obviously deserves to be promoted. But there's a whole 90 minutes here to decide it, and Boreham Wood posed so many challenges to them. The one thing I did notice was the head-to-head record is very much in favour of Rochdale. They beat them 2-0 away from home, 4-1 at home. The 2-0 was right at the start of the season. But whereas the 4-1 was a bit later on in the season, where both of them were right in the promotion race. So maybe I don't know. The first game was right at the start of Boreham Wood's National League return. The second game was when Rochdale were right on the top of their game, right on the best form they was playing in this season. The head-to-head thing can be important. The historical result thing can be important, as I've said, because Scunthorpe done the double over Southend. No one really read into that. People said, well, playoffs, and myself included, for playoffs, different games. Southend a bit more experience in this league, they'll get through. Didn't happen. Scunthorpe managed to get through. And what was really impressive with Rochdale, on what I said earlier, on that disappointment of missing out, right? The game against Scunthorpe I thought was so professional. I thought they played so well in that, and I thought they just come out straight away, got a really early goal, did exactly what they needed to do, just started playing their football straight away and beat a Scunthorpe team that pretty much did the same thing to Rochdale, got an early goal, sat back, and obviously they was able to add to that against Southend. Scunthorpe beat, sorry, but Rochdale, like I said, they was able to add to their lead as well. And they made it a bit tricky. They tested them a bit, getting that goal back. Scunthorpe. That's the one thing with Rochdale. They do sometimes concede goals. They were hard to beat. They have been hard to beat over the course of the season. They do like their late goals as well, but they have been conceding as of late in most games. Although, like I said, I was really impressed with that performance though from against Scunthorpe. They didn't sort of dwell on the game at the previous week, so I don't think there'll be any of that in the final. It's just a case of who manages the day better at Wembley for sure. As for my prediction now, I've got a bit of a interesting prediction for this, and this is on what I think. This is based on what I've seen from Boreham Wood in this playoff so far. I've maybe changed my mind on what I would have gone for if this was before we've seen them playing those playoff games, and now they've gone through it. And also just on a feeling. Sometimes you have to go on the gut feeling. Sometimes you do have to predict based on a hunch if it's so tight and you can't really separate it. This game usually goes for extra time. Based on that, I'm going to go for an extra time, and I'm going to go for both teams to score. I'm going to go for a 1-1. And I'm going to go for a Boreham Wood extra time winner. Will Zach Brunt be the man who gets it again, possibly, based on what we've seen so far? That sometimes those things do happen. It'll be quite something if you could do it in all three. I've just got a feeling that might be what happens, and part of me hopes that doesn't happen because of how close Rochdale were to going up. But like I say, Boreham Wood as well are a club that them reaching the Football League feels overdue and feels like it could be time for as well. So it's an exciting game, and whoever comes up, I think will be a great addition to the Football League next season, and I hope everyone enjoys the game, as this is usually a very enjoyable playoff final. And I will see you again very soon. I will be reacting to this final once it's been played, so look out for that video as well.